137 through 140?
Correct.
Okay,
And there being no objection, I would tender them into evidence at this time.
okay. I heard that, okay, got it, thank you. 137 through 140 are admitted.
Okay, let me just make sure we can lay a little foundation. Investigator Jackson, can you take a look at those photos and tell the judge and the jury whether or not you recognize and can identify them?
I do.
And what are they?
They're the photos of Ms. McIver's office, her office space.
See if they come up. This is State Exhibit number 137. I'm gonna show you in just 1 minute.
I had turned that off, is it still, is the big monitor off?
It's on.
It's on? Great.
Not right.
Okay, thank you. Now, this is State's Exhibit 137. It's just kind of the overall shot. And now, to help orient the jurors, will you tell them where would you be standing if you took this photograph?
That is the view in the doorway looking into her office.
Okay, and then what is this thing right here in the bottom corner? Right here.
This,
Uh-huh.
the table, it's a table that was in there.
A table?
Yes.
Okay, and then what's behind the table?
Behind the table, the marble top, that's her desk where we were told that where she worked.
Okay, and the hard drive for Diane McIver's work computer, it was located where? Where did you actually physically take it from, if you remember?
From the office, it was still on the desk.
Okay. And this is 138, it's just a, what is that, is that a closer view of the desk?
Yes.
Now, did you become aware during the investigation that there was a particular place where Diane McIver would keep and store her personal papers? I would rephrase it. I can rephrase it, ask you a different question. Let me show you States 139. You recognize that?
Yes.
And did you actually see those file cabinets in her bathroom?
Yes.
That photograph is a photograph taken in what part of her office? Just because I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Oh, that's the going into the separate room, the bathroom. You can see how it kind of begins, the toilet and everything.
Okay. And those file cabinets, did they have any significance to you during the investigation, at that time during the investigation that you were doing?
Yes. So opened them.
Without telling us what anybody told you,
Oh, okay.
why don't you tell us what was the significance of the file cabinets?
That they were empty and you would not expect for them to be without.
Stop. Right, so no speculation here.
Okay.
You're gonna talk about what you saw, et cetera. You all should disregard whatever Investigator Jackson may have said about her expectations or whatnot.
I cleared up with, I got another witness. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell the jurors, did you actually have the management there at the Corey Company sign documents that would allow you to take Diane McIver's computer?
No, they didn't.
Recall?
Yeah, they didn't sign anything. They just allowed us to take the computer.
Okay. And then what did you do with the computer?
I took the computer, and once I got it back to the office, I did a evidence sheet, a chain of custody sheet, just so it would show that I was in custody of the computer, and if it went to anybody else, we would be able to follow the chain of custody.
Okay. And until the date that you left, was the computer in your care, custody, and control?
Yes.
Okay. Now, can you tell the jurors, did you also interview a person by the name of Javier Hernandez?
Yes, we did.
And who was that?
He is the ranch manager, I believe it's Putnam County Ranch, where they went on the weekends.
Okay,
And when I say they, I mean the McIvers.
okay. And can you tell the jury whether or not, through conversations with Mr. Hernandez, we were able to visit the ranch?
Yes, that's,
Again, that would call for
The objection, if that's what you were going to say, but we don't know. It was appropriate to stop things right there.
Okay. We went to the ranch.
yes, we did.
Who went to the ranch?
Myself, I drove, as well as Linda Donikoski, the other attorney in the office.
Okay. And did we leave, where did we leave from to go to the ranch?
Fulton County District Attorney's Office. So we drove from 136 Prior Street out to the ranch. I do not have the exact address.
Okay, that's fine. And did we make any stops on the way to the ranch?
We did not.
And about how long did it take to get to the ranch?
It was a good little drive, so I would estimate about an hour and a half.
Okay. And when we got to the ranch, who was there?
Javier and one of his daughters. He has an adult daughter who was there as well.
Okay. And can you tell the jurors, after arriving at the ranch, what happened?
I arrived at the ranch. I contacted Mr. Javier on the phone, let him know that we were there. He came up to the gate because it is a huge property and met us and escorted us into the ranch.
Okay. And were we allowed to park on the property?
Yes.
And once we parked on the property, can you tell the jurors where physically did we go?
Kind of walk through the whole thing? Kind of?
Yes.
Okay. So,
As long as you don't say what Javier said.
okay.
Okay.
Because it was such a long drive, needed to use the bathroom. And so asked him if I could use the bathroom. He said yes. Well, yes.
I'm going to allow in the yes.
Okay.
It sounds like even if you said no, you might have been using that bathroom.
Well, I was directed which facility to use, given access to the home, went in, used the bathroom, came back out, and Ms. Donikoski also had used the bathroom as well. We came back out, sat, there was a outside sitting area, like a kind of a patio type, and we all sat out there, Mr. Rucker, myself, Linda Donikoski, Mr. Javier, as well as his daughter, and we had a conversation.
State's exhibit number 6. It's already been admitted into evidence. You recognize this photo?
Yes.
Where would you be standing if you took this photo?
That is towards the front gate. As I said, it's a huge property, and so that is like up towards the front of the property.
Okay. Can you try touching the screen to see if it makes a mark? We had someone tinkering with it.
No.
Tinkering didn't work. Okay.
Okay. If the court would allow Investigator Jackson to step down for 1 second.
Sure.
Mr. Pointer, can you just kind of show the jurors, when you go through the gate, which way do you have to go in order to get to the main house?
To get, there's, I don't know if you can really see. It's kind of in between both properties. There's a sitting area, a table and some chairs.
Okay. Let me show you stage 13. Recognize that?
Yes.
What is that?
So, that is the flowers and, kind of the upkeep. There was like a little, these are the stairs leading up to the home, and then some flowers and garden and stuff.
Okay, and the part where we were sitting, can you see the doors where we would have entered that screened-in porch in that photo?
It was kind of, it's a little bit more over to this side.
Stage 16.
Yes,
Recognize that?
yes.
What is that?
This is, so we came in through this way and kind of went into the property.
Okay. Now, you were allowed to actually go inside of the main house to use the restroom?
Yes.
Okay. And take a look at stage 14. And you recognize that?
Yes.
And how do you recognize that?
I recognize that. That is the door. So this is the door I actually entered to go in and use the bathroom. And then that, of course, kind of stood out to me.
What do you mean by that?
So this, the replica of the gun, because it was a gun, and kind of walking into it, it kind of
Well,
He asked it, she answered.
okay.
Oh.
It says on the screen. Let's move on.
Okay. Did you find that the, how would you describe, well, strike that, let me ask you my question. You said there were two properties, right?
yes.
Okay. Let me show you stage 18. Do you recognize that photograph?
I do.
And how do you recognize that photograph?
I recognize it because I was there when it was taken.
And what is it a photograph of?
So the property, the back one, this is actually the second property, but they kind of refer to as the saloon.
Okay. And in between the main property and the saloon is a pool?
Yes,
Okay. And were we able to actually go inside the saloon?
yes.
And how would you describe the decor inside the saloon?
It was Western themed, a lot of, I guess, kind of replicas of guns and stuff like that.
Okay. Replicas of guns?
Yes.
But how many replicas of guns did you see inside the saloon?
I remember seeing, and just recalling from my memory, a chandelier that was kind of made out of a gun. There was some other like shotguns posted or kind of as decor on the walls as we went through the property.
Okay. How long do you think we stayed there on that property before we left?
So again, just going off of what I can recall, maybe an hour, a little bit more than an hour.
Okay. And can you tell the jurors at that time, did you have any warrants or any authority to remove any items from the property?
I did not, no.
Okay. And so were any items removed from the property at that time?
No.
Okay. Can you tell the jurors, did you do anything to strike that? Did you see the vehicle that was involved in the shooting in this case?
I did, yes. During the course of my investigation, I did have an opportunity to see the vehicle.
And how did you come to see the vehicle?
The vehicle was actually, when I first saw it, it was at City of Atlanta Annex, being stored there.
What is the City of Atlanta Annex?
So City of Atlanta Annex is where they maintain property that has been recovered during the course of an investigation.
Is that a secured? Who was with you when you went to see the vehicle?
So the first time we went to see the vehicle out at City of Atlanta, it was me, Mr. Rucker, Linda Donikoski, Rico. He is also an employee of Fulton County District Attorney's Office. Please forgive me, I do not know his last name. But he's kind of the IT person. Detective Smith met us there, and witness Miss Danny Joe. May I refer to my notes?
Yes.
Her name? Patricia Carter also met us at the property.
Okay. And can you tell the jurors, did you arrange to have Patricia, she's also called Danny Joe sometimes?
Yes, that is kind of her nickname. She's called Danny Joe.
Okay. Did you arrange to have her meet us there at the Atlanta Annex with the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And once she got there, can you tell the jurors what happened?
Once she got there, everybody, that was our first time meeting her, introduced ourselves, and she immediately told,
Let's not get into what
Okay.
she told,
okay.
unless you're specifically asked, and then we can have the conversation we need to have about that.
Okay. So, Investigator Jackson, I don't want you to say anything that Danny Joe told you or me or anybody else.
Okay.
But let me direct you this way. After we introduced ourselves to Patricia Carter, did myself, you, Linda Donikoski, who's another ADA,
Yes.
and Detective Smith have a conversation?
Yes.
Okay. After the conversation, did we go to the vehicle?
Yes.
And can you tell the jurors when we got to the vehicle what happened? What was done?
I'm going to say it's going to include, it is going to include hearsay recitations by necessity. So I'm going to object to that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let it go forward until you let me know that you think we've gotten there. Because I could see that happening, but I could see it not happening also. So I'm not going to preclude it the way the question was framed.
And you understand, I want you to tell the jurors what was done, what we did, what you saw done, but not what anybody said.
Yes.
Okay.
So when we got to the vehicle, kind of a recreation was done where people were sitting at the time of the incident.
Okay. And can you tell the jurors whether or not, what was the purpose, what was Mr. Rico Dollar doing from our office?
He was videotaping. He was recording it.
Okay. Now, can you tell the jurors, after that meeting there at the Atlanta Police Department with the vehicle and Danny Joe, can you tell the jurors, did you take steps to take custody of that vehicle?
I did, yes.
What did you do?
And it wasn't that exact day. But yes, later on in the investigation, I obtained,
I'm going to object to this.
Is this something that in the future is going to be challenged? You're objecting, but what we're exploring here isn't going to be an item of controversy between the parties.
It is not.
Okay.
I'm objecting to a description of the procedure.
Okay.
As long
I
as
can get
there's
around.
not going to be a chain of custody concern or spoliation.
There's not.
Okay, then let's skip over this.
And if you don't mind, I'll do one. Okay. So let me just ask you this. You were able to have the vehicle taken from the Atlanta Police Department and stored under the care, custody, and control of the Fulton County DA's office?
I was, yes.
Okay. And where was the vehicle taken to?
It was taken to a secured location on Fulton Industrial Boulevard. I don't remember the exact address again, I'm sorry.
Okay. But it's a locked, secured storage facility?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay. I think it's one of my final sections I want to ask you about. During the course of the work that you did before you left the DA's office in Fulton County, did we have the opportunity to go to Emory University Hospital?
We did, yes.
Okay. And can you tell the jurors, as part of the work you were doing, let me see how I can ask you this. Did an issue regarding videotape surveillance come up?
An issue?
A question in your mind about it.
Can I object to the question, if you don't mind?
You can always object, but I'm getting the sense that Mr. Rucker is trying to explore something in a way that stays away from concerns you may have about hearsay. So I'm going to give him some flexibility into how he frames the question.
Sure.
But it may be you guys actually don't have a disagreement about exploring what he wants to explore.
All right. Did you attempt to get any videotapes there at the hospital?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And were you able to get any videotapes?
Yes.
Okay. And what videotapes were you able to get?
It wasn't necessarily videotaped. So I was able to obtain the video coverage from the ER entrance, the emergency room entrance at the hospital.
And how about with respect to the inside of the emergency room?
Yes, there is a camera kind of inside covering the front as you walk in through the emergency room. But there's also a camera positioned on the outside watching the cars as they pull up. And so I was able to obtain the video footage for both of those cameras.
Okay. Were you able to determine whether or not there was any videotape for deep into the emergency room, like back where the treatment takes place?
Yes, no, there's no video.
Okay. While we were at Emory, did we have an opportunity to speak with Dr. Hardy?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And at that time, can you tell the jurors, were you able to obtain any medical records?
Yes, I obtained Mrs. McIver's medical records as well as Mr. McIver's medical records.
Okay. And okay. And does that summarize the work that you did on this case?
Yes.
Or can you think of anything else that you would have done that I left out? Well, it's in connection to this case.
Sure, as long as the question is clear, not, because that could have been interpreted, things you wish you had done or something like
Right.
that.
No, that's not
Be
right.
Things that other aspects of the work she did in connection with the investigation.
Right.
I'll allow that,
Yeah.
and then you'll need to focus it if the answer is sure, X, Y, and Z.
Sure. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I do.
Okay.
I think so.
Does that summarize pretty much what you did?
Well, I also took custody of the weapon that was reportedly used, the incident as well.
Okay. And, that's right. And, did you document that in your notes?
I did, yes.
Okay. What page did you document that on?
I believe there should be, I'm sorry. It is actually on the back of page 8.
Okay, okay. And can you tell the jurors what other physical evidence did you collect?
I'm sorry, so the weapon that was reportedly used, shell casings, the victim's clothing, another projectile, the keys to the vehicle, Mr. McIver's vehicle, the vehicle that was driving, and we already spoke about the computer that was recovered from her office as well.
Okay, okay. And those things, they remained in your care, custody, and control until you left the office?
Yes. Yes.
And then they were turned over to someone?
Yes, so once I left the office, the case file as well as the evidence was turned over to my chief, Chief Wakocha.
Chief Wakocha?
Yes.
Okay. You see her in court today?
I do.
Okay. Who is Investigator Jonna Griffin?
She is the actual investigator that replaced me once I left the office.
You see her in court too?
I do, yes.
Okay. And your notes that you created with respect to the work you did, some of the interviews that was done, you indicate on your notes they were audio recorded.
Yes, so some of the interviews were extremely long, and it would just be too long for me to type out. So for my reference, I did a quick synopsis, and then I put at the bottom, see recording for complete interview.
Okay. And can you tell the jury what was done with the recordings of those interviews?
Those recordings were downloaded to a thumb drive and placed with the case file.
Okay. And turned over to your chief?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. When you spoke to Janie Calhoun, can you tell the jury, was the interview with Janie Calhoun at Alon's audio recorded?
So, yes and no, if I can explain. Okay. So the restaurant was extremely loud, and so I attempted to record it. However, due to the fact that it was so loud, it didn't record.
Okay. And when you say it was loud, give the jurors some idea for folks who've never been to a bar in the morning.
So it was kind of a crowded morning that morning, and so we were at a table. The tables are kind of pretty close, within arm's distance. You can basically reach out and touch the person that's sitting next to the table next to you. And so the recorder was placed on the table, and it was picking up all of the background noise, everything. So it was completely unaudible.
But on your notes, what did you indicate?
Interview was recorded.
Okay. Okay. Do you like it over in the cab as much as you did at Fulton? Don't answer that. Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
I do.
That's all my questions. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Harvey?
Good morning, it's Investigator Jackson, right?
Yes,
That's your proper, the way I should address you, that's your proper position.
that is my, yes, proper position, but
That was the position that you had when you were here with Fulton County, correct? Investigator, chief investigator?
yes.
I just wanted to address you in the proper manner with your title, okay?
Okay.
All right. I understand that you first got this case somewhere in January of 2016, correct?
No, last year, yes, yes.
Sorry.
Okay.
That's my mistake. The, as you recall, the incident occurred in September of 2016, correct?
Yes,
So, September, October, November, December, 4 months had gone by. And you got involved in the investigation in January of 2017, correct?
correct.
All right. And let's go back to some of the physical items that you told us about. The physical items that you told us about, for example, the handgun, the gun itself, that had been seized by somebody else and held at APD since the time of the seizure, correct?
Yes,
And it had been held at APD since September of 2016, correct?
I would assume so, yes.
When you took over the investigation,
Yes,
you didn't send it to the crime lab.
no,
You didn't know whether or not it had been sent to the crime lab from September of 2016 until January of 2017, when you got on the case.
I do remember, and so it being sent to the crime lab.
Okay, all right? While you were there?
While I was at the Fulton County District Attorney's Office.
Yes.
Yes, I don't know what day it was sent to the crime lab, though, is.
So when you got in the case, the firearm was already seized and it had already been sent to the crime lab, correct?
That is,
Already come back,
yes, that is my recollection.
all right? And the, you said the shell casings, a shell casing, you know what a shell casing is, right? Right. A shell casing is something that holds a projectile and is left in a weapon, correct?
Yes.
And there was one shell casing in this case, correct?
I can't recall how many it was. I would have to see I'm sorry.
No, I want you to finish.
Oh, I would have to see the actual chain of evidence, what I recorded down.
This happened a while ago.
Yes.
It's difficult to recollect everything in its particulars, correct?
Yes, to be exact on the number. I just remember there was shell casings.
More than one? You think you put shell casings, and that was maintained in your office?
So, trying to make sure I answered correctly.
Well, you can look at your report. Let's look at page 8. It says shell casings, my office.
Yes, so this is just my notes. However, in reference to there was some shell casings. So, but however, there was some additional testing done with the weapon, and so I had those casings as well.
Well,
And so that's what I'm trying to, I don't want to misquote, but yeah, there were some additional casings. So, does that make sense?
I don't know.
Okay, all
I
right,
think so, but that's okay.
okay.
That's my opinion. If you're asking my opinion, no, it doesn't make any sense. But,
Well, okay.
there were shell casings, I'm just going by your report. And let's talk about reports. Let's just talk about reports. The report is a synopsis, correct?
Yes, well, this is kind of more or less notes, yes.
It is a synopsis, correct? And in fact, you said synopsis.
Is that a question? Because I thought her answer was these are notes.
Right, so ask a question, let her answer it, as opposed to, well, that was asked and answered, how about that?
You've already rejected that. You've identified this as, and I quote, synopsis of McIver case, correct?
So yes, I did identify that. However, what I was referring to was the synopsis of the interviews. There are some additional notes as well. So in reference to the evidence, it was just basically a quick line, this, and where it was located. So,
Right. The purpose of doing that is to be able to refresh your recollection sometime later. If you're called to the witness stand, a year and a half later after you've done this, it may refresh your recollection as to what it means. One, correct?
yes, so, okay. So yes, in reference to the interviews, it's kind of a quick, refresh my memory. However, in reference to where the evidence was left, that was kind of for the investigator that was coming in to replace me. And so I want to make sure that there's a distinction between the two.
And I was about to make that distinction.
Okay,
One purpose of writing a report is to contemporaneously record things that may be important in the case. That's one purpose.
yes,
A second purpose is to be able perhaps to refresh your recollection down the road about things you may have done several years ago or sometime beforehand. That's a second purpose.
yes,
A third purpose may be for others following you to get a synopsis of the case and to rely on some of the work that you may have done in the past, so they have a little refresher about what has gone on previously, correct?
correct,
So you know that other people may rely on your synopsis or reports or notes, correct?
yes,
You know that you may rely on your notes and other synopses of the reports, correct?
correct,
And that it may be important, and it's critically important, that what is recorded is both important, informative, and correct.
yes,
And that's what you strove to do in taking these notes, even though you denominate it as a synopsis, correct?
yes,
Okay. So we're still on the evidence in possession of the DA's office. We have the weapon, correct?
Correct.
We have some shell casings. You're saying that there may be more shell casings than the actual shell casing involved in the case.
Yes,
Okay, and that's why it may be multiple.
yes,
There is clothing, correct?
yes,
There is a projectile, and the projectile, of course, is what comes out of a gun,
yes, it's the actual bullet, yes.
commonly known as a bullet.
Yes.
Right? Okay. The key to the vehicle was in your office, and that the vehicle is the one that Mr. Rucker asked you about, the expedition that you told us that you were in and that you rode around in, right?
No, I didn't ride around in it.
Okay, well, that you were in, that you've seen
Yes,
it, okay? And you also told us about the office computer, correct?
yes,
And the vehicle itself and where it was located. Those are the,
yes.
you gotta say
Oh,
yes.
I'm sorry, yes,
Those are the physical items that you told us about, correct?
yes.
Now, when you attempted to do these interviews that you told us about, what you wanted to do was audio record those, correct?
Yes, I did.
Because it's important to know precisely what people say, correct?
Correct,
Precisely what people say to a particular question, right?
correct,
Because you can't take an answer out of context, right?
correct,
And it has to be within the context of what question was asked, the context that it was asked, and the answer that was given, correct?
correct.
So one thing that you tried to do was audio record these interviews, right?
Yes,
And when you left, and this is March 31st of 2017, the synopsis that you gave us depended upon a review of the actual recordings, correct? Because it was just a synopsis.
well, it depended upon the actual recordings as well as my handwritten notes also.
Okay, your handwritten notes, you're
Yes.
talking about these notes?
No,
There are some other notes
Yeah.
that aren't reflected in the synopsis? Are there handwritten notes that aren't reflected in the synopsis?
you mean, what do you mean, not reflected? So the handwritten notes are there handwritten notes? Yes. Does that make, okay, yes, there are handwritten notes. The handwritten notes are reflected in the synopsis.
That was.
Okay,
that was my- So the answer to the question is yes.
yes,
The handwritten notes are reflected in the synopsis.
Yes.
It's not something different, it's not something supplemental, it's not something different.
No.
It's not something in addition to this, right?
right.
Okay. And I was a little bit confused. You met Miss Calhoun at, you said Alana's,
Yes,
and you met Miss Calhoun with a number of other folks, correct?
two other people, yes.
Okay, well, that's a number, two.
Yeah, two.
And the idea was to interview her, correct?
Correct.
And to accomplish that, somebody asked questions, right?
Right.
And Ms. Calhoun gave answers.
Yes,
We just talked about how important it is to have the question and to have the answer and to have the context, right?
yes,
So one of the things that it was important for you to do while you were taking the notes that you took was to be able to refer back to the audio recordings, right?
yes, for some of it, yes.
For every single one of them? Mm-hmm. Okay. And Janie Calhoun specifically, it says, does it not, your notes reflect, that the interview was audio recorded, right?
Yes,
Did you have a chance to go back and attempt to listen to the audio recording before you left the office?
I did, yes.
And it was then that you discovered that the audio recording was inaudible?
Yes,
And then did you prepare the synopsis?
yes,
All right, but in the synopsis, it says, your words, interview was audio recorded.
mm-hmm,
All right, but it doesn't say, gee, we can't hear the audio recording, don't rely upon the audio recording. There is no audio recording that we can get the context and the answers in the words that are spoken, correct?
yes.
Okay, but that, you didn't put that down for the next investigator.
No, I did not.
So what we have is indeed just your notes, correct?
Yes, for Ms. Calhoun, yes.
I'll get back to those in a while. We then talked about, you and Mr. Walker, we then talked about Ms. McIver's office, right?
Right,
You showed us pictures of Ms. McIver's office, correct?
correct.
And you showed us the pictures of her desk, right?
Yes,
Her bathroom.
yes,
And next to her bathroom, you showed us file cabinets, correct?
yes,
When you were asked about those file cabinets had been there the entire time. They weren't moved, the file cabinets themselves weren't moved, right?
You say the entire time.
I'm sorry. To your knowledge, the file cabinets had not been moved since September of 2016.
I don't know, I never asked that.
And there were, as I understand it, nothing in those file cabinets?
For what I can recall, yes, they were empty.
But if there was something, it was September, October, November, December, that the file cabinets had been there and people, whoever it may have been, had access to those file cabinets, correct?
Well, I'm going to object. I think what the investigator has said is that she doesn't know.
I think there's going to be another witness, when Mr. Rucker wasn't able to get further with that, he indicated, you know what, there's a witness in a better position to sort through this. So I think this would call for speculation. Next question.
But just when you got there in January is when you went and got these pictures, right?
Yes,
By that time, there was nothing left in those.
I think I'm going to object to that question as well. I think it calls for a hearsay. She would learn that through the words of someone else.
Physically, when she got there in January.
Do you know if there was ever anything in the file
I
cabinets?
didn't ask that.
I understand, I'm asking that question.
okay.
Other than someone telling you that there used to be things in the file cabinet, do you know that there was ever anything in those filing cabinets?
Other than someone telling me no.
Okay. So we need to go to a different,
Yes, sir. Yep, we will.
okay.
That's fine. Detective Smith finished his work in the case in December of 2016, at the end of December in 2016.
Not sure if he finished his work. I know an arrest was made, but there was some
did he finish his work in December of 2016?
Well, I'm going to object. I think she's trying to answer the question, but I really think it calls for her to speculate, and I think that's what the struggle is.
Well, it could also be, I don't know.
Right.
And that's a fine answer
Okay,
too.
yeah, I don't know.
When did you go to the ranch? You told us about the ranch.
So, it was,
If you need to look at your report to refresh your recollection, just let Mr. Harvey know that, and he'll let you know if he wants to let you do that.
well, no, I'm trying to think of, I don't know if it would be proper for me to, you want the exact day I went?
Yeah, what month? Did you go in January of 2017? Did you go in February of 2017?
So I believe it was January that I went. January or the first part of February.
And I understand that you drove out there with Mr. Rucker
Yes,
and one other member of the district attorney's office,
yes, that is correct.
and it was three of them.
Yes,
No. And when you drove out there, it took you about an hour and a half to get there,
yeah, roughly,
and it was a pretty rural area.
yes,
In fact, you've described it previously as a rural area.
yes,
You got there by driving a two-lane road,
yes,
and I think you told us that there was really, the reason you had to ask to go to the bathroom when you got there, because there wasn't anything else around.
yes, from what I can recall, there was nothing else around.
Okay. So it's definitely out in the country.
Yes,
Now, the ranch, you told us, that's what it's called. You understand that it's called the ranch, right?
yes, that's, we all kind of referred to it as the ranch.
And I'm going to refer to it as that.
Okay.
as well, right? When you finally get there, it's surrounded by nothing but, I guess, land and woods.
Yes, it is a huge property. When we get there, we have to stop at the front gate to be escorted into the property.
Okay. And again, it's land surrounding the ranch, it's wooded property surrounding the ranch, correct?
Yes,
You get there and you understand, you understand before you even get there that it's a large property.
yes,
And when you got there, you got an idea of how large a piece of property it was, correct?
yes,
I mean, there are cattle on the property.
yes, that's what I was told. Yeah,
There are horses and horse stalls and barns on the property.
that is correct.
You told us that there is a caretaker, correct?
Yes, he referred to himself as the ranch manager.
Okay. But you know that there's a caretaker that oversees the property, correct?
Yes,
There's a lake.
yes,
I mean, or a pond. It's not quite like Lake Michigan, but it's a lake, right?
it's a body of water, correct.
Body of water. Plus, there's a pool.
Yes,
You saw the stables where horses were kept, correct?
yes,
And all of this is in January of 2017, approximately, well after the September 2016 event, right?
yes, it was either January or early February, but yes.
You showed us a little bit about the entrance that you went in. And you said, I think you said, boy, there was like a gun on the wall at the entrance.
The entrance to the house, yes. Mm-hmm.
And that-
Correct.
That was a cap gun, wasn't it?
I don't know.
You didn't bother checking it?
No,
Okay, so you don't know whether that's a gun or just like a replica or a cap gun, right?
no, it was on the wall for decorations. I didn't take it down.
It was decoration, that's exactly what it was.
Yes,
Right, and all the little signs and all those things were clearly decoration.
correct, yes.
And the items that were on the walls that you showed us, like replica guns
Yes, I think that's kind of what I said before. It was
The Western-
decorated in like a Western theme, so there was a lot of different replicas of guns throughout.
And you took a little tour of the location, correct?
Yes, the Mr. Javier gave us kind of a tour of the property.
And you got to observe that property. Do you know how many acres it was?
No, may I refer to my notes? I think he may have told me. Approximately 100 acres.
So it's a large piece of property deep in the woods.
Yes, it's a large country property.
I'm sorry?
It's a large country property is how I would refer to it.
Okay. When you first, I'm going to move to another area now, the vehicle, okay?
Okay,
When you first saw the vehicle, it was in APD's custody?
correct.
It had been in APD's custody for how long, do you know?
I don't.
Well, you don't know anything about how it got there to start with?
I don't.
Do you know whether people had been in and out of the vehicle prior to the time that you first saw the vehicle?
I don't have firsthand knowledge of that, no.
Okay. Did you see any reports or any other notes in your review about how many times people had been in and out, who had been in and out, what they had done when they went in and out of the vehicle?
No.
And when you saw the vehicle, you were with somebody else? You were with Mr. Rucker?
Yes, I was with several other people.
And the person who took the videotape, correct?
Yes,
And they, the people you were with, including Ms. Carter, were in and out of the vehicle.
on that day, yes.
Right? And they left in the vehicle,
No,
not while you were there?
not at all.
Okay, all right. Did they get in and out of the vehicle when you were there?
Yes,
Did you ever have an opportunity to go on a route, drive in a similar vehicle?
yes.
And that was in February of 2017?
Yes, so it was, I would say February or March. It was before I left, because I was actually driving the vehicle.
It certainly wasn't after March 3rd. Videotaped and audio taped, correct?
I remember it was videotaped. I'm not sure if it was audio taped, a separate audio. I know there was a video camera, so yes,
Okay. And before you left, did you have an opportunity to review that?
I did not.
Okay. And was that part, did that become part of your files?
No. It became, no, it did not become part of my file, no.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Okay.
Precisely what I was
Okay.
asking. Then you went over to, you also, I'm going to switch again to Emory, because you told us about just a number of these areas, correct? You had the opportunity to go to Emory
Yes, that is correct.
and to observe the emergency entrance, correct?
Correct.
And the inside as well, correct? The inside of the emergency entrance where you go in if there is an emergency.
Yes, the door area, yes, but I didn't go back into the treatment area.
Okay, just the outside.
Just the outside and kind of the foyer or corridor, hallway, kind of, yes.
My understanding was that you got a video of the outside, correct?
Correct.
Of the evening of September 25th of 2016.
So, I'm not sure if that's I got a video from the evening of the incident, so.
That's fine.
Okay, yes.
Of the outside, but not the inside.
No, the inside as well.
Okay, the inside of.
The hall, not the treatment areas, just
Okay.
the hallway.
And that makes sense because they're not going to be videotaping the treatment. area,
Correct.
For privacy and other reasons. So let's go back to Ms. Calhoun's statement.
Okay.
That wasn't preserved on the audio tape. Is that the only audio tape that you conducted, or the only interview that you conducted that the audio tape did not record appropriately?
No. So there was another one as well.
She's done answering. Do you have a follow-up, or you're looking through something for your next?
Oh, no, I apologize. Were you looking to see which other interview did not audio record?
Oh, no, I know which one.
Which one is that?
Annie Anderson.
Sorry?
Annie Anderson. So that one was also done in a restaurant. It was the quality was a little bit better. I can make out some of the things, but yes, that one.
All right, but on either one of those, it was not recorded in your synopsis that the audio was either unintelligible or did not record. It wasn't audible. You couldn't tell what people were saying, right?
Correct.
And when you were making your notes with the understanding that, I've got audio backup. So, or at least you thought you had audio backup at the time, so I'm gonna just do bullet points so I can check with, and anybody can check with the audio at a later date.
Wasn't really thinking about it that way. Just kind of.
Well, these aren't, your synopsis isn't verbatim, correct?
Correct.
And the reason it's not verbatim was because you were putting bullet points or points, and you had at the end, interview was audio recorded, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And when you put the synopsis here, there was not a date. We don't have a date of the interview, do we?
No.
We don't have a time of the interview, do we?
No.
We don't have a location of the interview. That's just from your memory now, some time later, over a year later, correct?
Correct.
All right. And we know that it is not verbatim. We don't have the context, we don't have the words, and we do not have what actually was said, correct?
Correct.
But we know that Ms. Calhoun said she never witnessed Tex and Diane argue, correct? She told you that they were very much in love and they were the perfect couple, correct?
Yes, that is one of the things she said, yes.
Well, there were a lot of things she said, but we don't know exactly what. But we know she said that, right?
Right.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Rucker, any follow-up for Investigator Jackson?
Yes. Investigator Jackson, with respect to the audio recordings that did come out such that they could be heard pretty clearly, what was done with all of those audio recordings?
All of those recordings were placed on a thumb drive and turned over.
Okay. I neglected to ask you about the route drive. Explain that to the jurors.
So there was to get a better description of where the incident occurred, we redrove the route that was described as was taken.
And who was present for that?
Present for that was Mr. Rucker, myself, Ms. Patricia Carter, the witness, her attorney, I don't remember his name, and then in the second vehicle was my chief, Chief Wakocha, and Rico Dollar was following behind.
Okay. And what was the purpose of that?
The purpose of that was to get a better understanding as far as where the incident occurred. Basically, the crime scene in this case was a vehicle, and so it traveled, and so we wanted to try to pinpoint where it actually happened. At what street, there was some discrepancies as far as what street it happened on.
Okay. And can you tell the jurors just what streets were discussed during the route drive? Well, I can rephrase it.
Okay.
What streets did we stop on?
We stopped on, so we were over by Piedmont Park, and so we stopped on 14th, 12th Street, and we actually got out and walked, and, following the description of kind of
Okay.
where we were told to go.
Okay. And when we got out and we walked, who actually was walking with us?
Everybody that I had mentioned before was actually walking before with us. So
Okay.
it will be you, Ms. Carter, her attorney, Chief Wakocha, Rico Dollar.
Okay. And can you just tell the jurors the route drive that we did? Was it in the daytime, or what time of day did it occur?
At night. So we wanted to try to get it as close to the time of the incident, the time and day of the incident. So it was on a Sunday around the same time,
Okay.
10 o'clock,
Okay.
I believe, 9 to 10.
Okay.
Okay.
About 9 or 10?
Yeah, it was dark. So, yes. And again, yeah.
All right. And can you tell the jurors where did we start this route drive and where do we end it?
I could not exactly. So, yeah, to be precise, no. So I remember from what I can recall from my memory, we started as we exited off the highway.
What highway?
I went 75.
Going north or south?
Again, I'm trying to recall solely on my memory. I believe we were coming south. Yeah, I believe it was south.
Okay.
I believe.
Let me see if I can, let me ask you this way. Where do we end the route drive? Where do we end it?
Oh, we ended going to the hospital. She
Okay.
directed us to the hospital.
Okay. And before we got to the hospital, where did we stop on 14th Street? What's located in that area?
What do you mean? So
It's 14th Street in what intersection?
14th and I want to say it was Piedmont because we was literally right across from the park.
Right.
When we got out, yes.
Right, okay. And so before we got to 14th and the park, which way do we go to get there? Did we come from Buckhead? Or did we come from the other direction?
I believe it was the other direction.
Okay. And do you know how we exited the expressway? If you don't, you don't. When you say we were on the highway, do you know where we got off the highway?
Oh, yes, no.
Okay.
I can't recall.
All right. Let me ask you this. But Chief Wakocha was present for that as well?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know when the case file was actually turned over to our office from the Atlanta Police Department, when you would have started working on it?
The exact date, no. I know it was turned over the end of December, the beginning of January.
Okay. And prior to the case file being turned over to the Fulton County DA's office, did you do any work on the case before that?
No,
Okay. So you never did any work with Darren Smith or helped him or do anything like that?
no.
Okay.
No involvement.
Okay. And finally, while we were at the ranch, and we had the opportunity to be there and look at it and walk around, did your investigation ever reveal how much money it takes to run the ranch per month?
Okay.
And who's to strike it, and that's not even an appropriate question, it's not a legal act. And nothing to do with cross-examination.
Okay. So I'm just going to sustain the objection. If you need to ask a different question or maybe a different witness, can work through that with you. All right. That's all my questions. Okay. Any questions from the jurors for Investigator Jackson? Thank you.
Right. And then she said stuff about testing it, so all I had to do was say, do you recall how much came from what you described as testing? But she asked what you done. Right, the gut. I understand, right? She was going to tell sure. Yeah. Yeah. So she's going to tell us.
Investigator Jackson, you and Mr. Harvey talked about casings with an S.
Yes.
And you said something about maybe there was...
I apologize. I need to have those questions.
Sure.
You understand?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep. You and Mr. Harvey talked about how you use the plural, casings.
Yes.
And there was some discussion about the weapon being tested. Question, do you recall how many shell casings were the byproduct of whatever testing was done?
No.
All right. Mr. Rucker, any follow-up based on that?
No.
Okay. Mr. Harvey? All right. Thank you, Investigator Jackson. You guys okay to press on, or you need your morning break? If anyone needs a break, morning break it is. All right. We're going to try to keep it to 10 minutes because this will be your break before lunch. If that's not enough time,
Counsel, judges on the bench.
Hello, Mr. Citronberg.
Judge, good to see you.
Good to see you.
I always like to come and see all my friends.
Well, then you're in the right place.
Thank you. Good to see you. We'll get out of here.
All right. That was easy.
Unless you want me to stay.
You'll need to see what they need. All right. We ready with the state's next witness? Yes, sir. All right. Defense is ready?
I'm sorry,
Yes. Okay.
Jurors are ready as well.
Great. Let's bring them in.
Got them stacked up outside.
All rise for the jurors.
It's Teresa Gail Meadows, and it's TERESA GAIL MEADOWS.
Can everybody hear me?
We'll see.
Can you all hear? Good morning, Ms. Meadows. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Could you please let me know where you're from?
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
And what neighborhood did you grow up in?
I grew up in Atlanta.
In the city of Atlanta?
Uh-huh.
And where are you currently employed?
I am unemployed at the moment.
And were you previously employed by Corey Enterprises?
Yes, I was.
And what was your job duties at Corey?
I was the receptionist, administrative assistant.
Okay, and how long did you work there?
I worked for a year and a half.
Okay, and when did you start?
July the 5th, 2016,
And what was your last day?
at the end of this past year. In
Before working at Corey, what was your occupation?
I was a homemaker, a stay-at-home mom.
Okay. And how did you come to be employed by Corey?
Well, I was looking to return to the workforce, and my neighbor, Danny Jo Carter, saw her in the neighborhood and waved, and she goes, "Hey, are you looking for employment?" And I said, "Yes." And she says, "I think I have a job for you." And it would work for me, part-time, 3 days a week, and, to look into it and call Mr. Hahn, and I did, and I was hired a month and a half later, something like that.
And you said you worked part-time?
Yes,
What days of the week did you work?
I worked on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays,
And what hours did you work?
8:30 to 5:30.
And you said you worked as a secretary?
Well, assistant, I helped in different areas.
Okay. And did you help anyone
invoices and things like that.
Who was your direct supervisor?
Shirley, I'm trying to think of the last names. It's, immediate Angie Brooks.
Okay. And at Corey, at the office, where was your office situated?
I sat at the front desk as you entered the building.
Okay. And were you responsible for letting people in and out of the building?
Yes.
Okay. And how would people enter the building?
Well, you have to go to the call entrance. There's a call phone to enter. There was a gate.
And who would they call?
Me. So it would directly, the phone would ring at my desk. And I had a screen I could see who comes and goes.
And did the employees have to bring in to get inside of the building?
We have a passcode or either a remote.
Okay. And did everybody have the same passcode or were there different passcodes?
They're all the same.
I'm going to show you what the mark is. It's 153, 154, 156, and 158. Would you look at these for me, please? And let me know if you recognize them.
through 158.
No, not all numbers, Your Honor. It's 153, 154, 156, and 158. I'm not tendering the other ones in between.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, exhibit 153, what is that?
That is the diagram of the whole compound there, Corey Enterprises.
And does that appear to be an accurate and reflection depiction of the layout of Corey Enterprises?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And 154, 156, and 158, what are those?
This is the entrance to the building where you have to put in a code at this door here to enter. And then this is a little lobby area here. And this is the door you come into here, and then you're in the main building.
Okay. And are all three of these pictures of the same area?
Yes, it is.
And do they appear to be an accurate an accurate reflection of the area that you work in?
Yes, that's my desk.
All right. Your Honor, permission to introduce and publish dates exhibits 154, 156, 158, and 153.
Any objection to those four? There it is.
I have a demonstrative for I want to go back to September of 2016.
All right.
And on that week, you say you work which days per week?
I work Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Okay, so Thursday, September 22nd, I believe. When did you find out that Diane had passed?
I didn't realize that this until Tuesday when I returned to work.
Okay, and when was the last day that you saw Diane?
Thursday.
Okay. And on Thursday, when did you see her?
Throughout the day at different times. I didn't, see her on a consistent basis. She came and went.
Do you remember what time she came into work that morning?
I don't really recall. It had to be before 10 or so, 9:30. I'm not real positive. She didn't sign in. She didn't always come through the front door.
Okay.
She would either, come through in the warehouse, there's a parking there, and she would sometimes park in there and then come through the back. So,
And if you could, on that day, did you see her husband?
I did.
And who do you know her husband to be?
Tex McIver?
And have you ever met him?
No.
And how do you know of him?
I've saw pictures of him, and I did see him in passing when they had maybe a group come in and were leaving for dinner or something like that, but I was never formally introduced to him. And then there's pictures in the hall from the previous pictures of when they won the case with the airport. There was a decision and pictures made with Mr. Corey and Diane and Tex. So I'd seen those photos.
Okay. And you saw him on that Thursday?
Yes.
And around what time of the day?
It was mid-afternoon, I would say.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
And describe to the jury what you saw that day.
I was sitting at my desk and saw the door open to the right-hand side where you come in past the lobby, and I see him come through, and without a hello, he was on a mission when he came into the office that day.
Stop. You need to stop.
Okay.
There's an objection.
Okay.
Objection to her characterization of him being on the mission. I would ask that you strike that testimony and instruct the jury to disregard.
Sure. So, ladies and gentlemen, well, first, Ms. Meadows, in answering questions, you're free to talk about what you observed, but it's important that you not start to characterize it unless that's in response to a question,
Okay.
because that'll give the other side a chance to object if there's going to be an objection to the question. You haven't done anything wrong, but we want to keep it focused on what you saw, observed, etc. Jurors, you all should disregard the mission statement. That's an opinion, and it hasn't been established that this is someone who is in a position to offer an opinion on something like that. So please disregard that piece of Ms. Meadows' testimony. I'm going to ask you to ask a question now, and we'll pick up from the question that you ask.
Please explain to the jury what you observed that day.
I observed Tex McIver coming into the office and walking past me, and I was actually kind of surprised with that because I didn't know that other people could just come into the office. And he went past me and peered into Diane's office, walked past there, and proceeded down to the hall to Billy Corey's office, and then come back and go out.
Now, you said that he came through from the front door. And I'm showing you State's Exhibit number 154. Could you describe what we're looking at right here?
Okay, that is the entrance to the building, the outdoors coming into the building. Let me put my glasses back on, sorry. And then the little lobby area, and then the door coming in to where I sit.
And if you could, go ahead and stand up for me and point with the pointer on the map exactly where that area is. That corresponds with that picture. All right. So this is the parking lot here. And this is sidewalk. This is the entrance into the building where the keypad come in. This is a little lobby area here, and this is the door to come into there. This is where I sat here. Okay. And which door requires the code to get into?
This door out here.
Okay. And what about the gate outside of the parking lot?
Okay,
Is there a code
that
to-
is, it's not in here.
Okay, can we see it from that picture? If I zoom in?
No,
You can't?
no.
Okay. But is there a gate to get into the parking area that requires a code?
Yes.
Okay, and is that the same code for the front door?
Yes.
Okay. And, continue.
Okay, so the entrance is out here. And then there's a little road in through here, and there's a little car box that's here. Okay. So, and then there's parking. Then you have to wait for the gate to open, and then you can come in and park if you park here or out in this area.
Okay. And so he walked through the lobby.
And he came through this door, through here, past here, down this hall here,
appeared here inside, and proceeded down this way, appeared inside here, and turned around and came back this way. Okay.
And while he was in the office, did he say anything to you?
No?
And I'm going to show you State's Exhibit number 156. And could you show on the map where that area is? No, show on the photo which way he walked.
Out here?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so he came in this way, and I'm sitting here, and walked past here, and down on the other side of that little room that's there.
Okay. And that's where Diane's and Mr. Corey's office was?
Right.
Okay. And you could see this from where you were sitting?
Yes.
Okay. And when he came in, did you say anything to him?
No?
And what were you doing when he came into the office?
Paperwork.
And describe to the jury how he looked to you.
Angry.
Your Honor, objection. We could instruct the witness just to describe his physical characteristics and not give an opinion as to how he appeared.
So, what's your response to that objection?
I mean, I think she can observe how he appears to her. I don't think it requires any type of special knowledge to it.
I'll allow it.
Could you continue, Ms. Meadows?
He was red-faced, with a stern look on him, and I'm just thinking, I've just not seen too many people that look like that. I'm just saying that he
Objection, Your Honor. Now
was red-faced.
When she objects, you guys
Okay, when she
stop.
stands, okay, sorry.
Now we have moved on from describing how he looked to characterizing it, her opinion of how he looked. She said, red-faced, stern look, something like, I haven't seen other people look like that. I asked that the witness limit it to how Mr. McIver appeared physically.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to go on to your next question. I'm going to allow that, but we're done with the description.
Okay. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit number 3. And if you could describe exactly how was he red-faced? If you could show me on there.
Well, he didn't look like, I mean, his face wasn't like this, but he was just all red. It was just an all ruddy red face.
Okay, like red, like an apple. If you could describe it, how red?
Severely sunburned.
Okay. And you
Red.
said he appeared to be stern. Compared to this, did he look like this on this picture?
No,
No.
no.
Okay. And before you saw him this day, how many times before had you seen him?
Maybe once.
Okay. And did he appear different this time than he did the other time that you saw him?
Yes.
And besides working with at Corey, did you have any type of personal relationship with Diane?
No.
And what about the defendant?
No.
And to your knowledge, was Diane in the office that day?
Yes.
And was Mr. Corey in the office that day?
Yes.
And when you saw the defendant, did you think she was there at that time?
Yes.
Where did you think she was?
Well,
Maybe in
I'm
Mr.
sorry, I object. Are we speculating, or are we asking the witness to say something she observed at that time personally?
Right. You're going to need to ask your question in a different way.
When you last saw Diane that day, before the defendant came, where was she?
I'd seen her in the hallway between her office and Mr. Corey's.
Okay, if you could show on the diagram where you saw her. She was in this area here. Okay. All right, I have another question. Well, I'm sorry. When the defendant came in, did he talk to Diane? Did you see him talk to Diane?
No,
Did you see him talk to anyone?
no.
How long did you stay in the office?
I would say it would be less than a minute and a half.
Okay, so when you walked in, was he walking swiftly or calmly? How was he walking?
Swiftly.
And did he speak to anyone while he was there?
No,
And when he walked back out, did he say anything to you?
no.
And did you see Diane later on that day?
No,
I'm so sorry, I missed your last question.
Did you see Diane later on that day?
no.
Okay. And I have another question.
Okay, Ms. Clark Palmer.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Ms. Meadows. My name is Amanda Clark Palmer, and I represent Mr. McIver. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
I think, have you and I maybe spoken on the phone briefly one time before?
Yes,
Okay. So you worked at Corey, do you call it the Corey Company or Corey Enterprises? How do you call it?
U.S. Enterprises.
All right. You worked at U.S. Enterprises. You started in early July 2016?
Yes,
All right. So between the time you started and the time that Diane died, you had been at Corey Enterprises for almost 3 months.
2.5, something like that, and give and take 3 times a week, so not often.
3 times a week for approximately maybe 10 weeks or something like
Yeah.
that. And you told us that I know you saw Mr. McIver on that Thursday, the 22nd. But before that, you told us you had seen him one other time previously.
As I recall, just once.
You had seen pictures of him in the office. I'm sorry, you have to say yes or no.
Yes.
For the court report.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Some of the pictures you saw were hanging up in the hallway because they related to some court case that U.S. Enterprises was involved with, right?
Correct, yes.
Were there also pictures of Mr. McIver in Diane's office?
Not to my, I've never went into her office.
Oh, you didn't go into her office?
No.
Okay. Were there, well, when you said you had seen pictures of Mr. McIver, were you only referring to the ones hanging up in the hallway?
Yes,
All right. So other than seeing Mr. McIver in those pictures hanging up in the hallway, and that one other time when he had come to the office, outside of that, you hadn't seen him.
right, correct, yes,
And you said that you hadn't met him, correct?
yes,
And on this day, the Thursday, September 22nd, he came into the office. Do you remember at about what time it was?
I'm thinking after lunch,
Oh, I'm sorry. I think you said
to midday, it's the afternoon.
Mid-afternoon, you told us that. All right. And he was in the office for approximately 90 seconds.
Something like, yes.
You didn't get your stopwatch out.
No,
It was a quick visit. Is that a fair way to characterize it?
yes,
And you told us that at the time that he got to the office, you don't know if Diane was in the building.
she was in the building,
Okay? You don't know if she was in her office.
right,
Okay. And you had told us before that people could come in the front door that we talked about, right?
they could, yes,
And there's another way to get in the building if you go through, well, you said something about Diane didn't always come through the front door. So is there some other door to the business that you can get in?
there's 2 other doors, but you have to have access to them,
Are those other doors shown on this layout here?
I believe so.
Where are they on the layout?
So here is the warehouse. The garage here. There's a door that's outside here,
I see that.
okay, that you can enter. And there's also a door that's here.
If somebody, let's
And
say,
they're all,
let's start with the door to the garage. If somebody came in that door, they could get into the building without walking by your desk, correct?
Yes, I would, well, I could see them with a screen, but
There's a camera back there.
yes,
Okay. And the other door, is there also a camera back there as well?
yes.
All right. And are there cameras in Diane McIver's office?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, so you don't have a way to see in her office unless you get up and walk down the hallway and look.
Yeah. My desk is here, I can see just here, I can see inside these offices.
All right, okay, thank you very much. And you told us that you don't socialize with Mr. and Mrs. McIver.
Right, correct.
Sounds like maybe the total time you have ever had a chance to personally observe Mr. McIver on these two occasions added up to a few minutes?
Well, when he had come into the office prior to that, I've seen him. It was in the front lobby area.
How
So,
long was he in the office that previous time?
you know, I'm not really sure. They were meeting other couples to go to dinner, and they had had gathered in there.
Was he there for a brief period of time or something more like 20 or 30 minutes?
I'm not real sure. Maybe.
Just don't recall.
I don't recall how long they were there.
Okay. So you can't tell this jury that you know what Mr. McIver's normal demeanor is, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Because you don't know him, right?
I don't.
And you told us that he appeared red-faced, as if he was severely. That's what you compared
He was.
to
He
being-
was. He was like beet red.
And you compared it to being severely sunburned.
Yeah, he was red faced, just red faced.
Okay. And you said he had a stern look on his face, right?
He was not happy.
You have to say yes or no for the court reporter.
Yes.
Okay. You don't know where he was coming from.
No, I don't.
Was he carrying anything in his hands when he came to the office?
No.
Was he carrying anything in his hands when he left the office?
No.
All right. You don't know how he got to the office.
No.
You don't know if there was somebody with him outside the office.
No.
You don't know if there was somebody with him when he left the office, right?
No.
You don't know what other conversations he had had that day, right?
No.
Don't know what else was going on in his life or his work at that moment.
No.
All you can tell the jury is what you observed in that approximately 90 seconds on Thursday, September 22nd.
Correct. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Griffin, any follow-up?
Ms. Meadows, why do you remember this particular occasion?
Well, it was just just a sudden thing that normally, you know, the people don't, it was totally unexpected because I screened the door, I watched the video, and I didn't know that people could just come in without my permission or without having an appointment or whatnot, and I was actually taken by surprise with the door opening and hearing it shut and, you know, looking up from, and seeing someone come in that manner and leaving.
May I have some brief follow-up just on that point?
Super brief.
Yes.
That was one question.
Yes. With a somewhat lengthy answer. Am I correct that you were surprised because you thought only U.S. Enterprise employees were able to get in and out that door without you buzzing them in?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions from the jury? Thank you. Okay. Two questions, Ms. Meadows. One, can you share with the jury why you don't work at U.S. Enterprises anymore?
Well, after Diane's death, Mr. Corey sold the advertising section of Corey, U.S. Enterprises, and that was a large part of the money that came in for the business. And so he slowly sold off the outdoor billboards in the airport advertising, and slowly closed them off, sold them. So therefore, there was much work for me left to do with correspondence, with invoices and such. And so that's why I'm no longer employed with them.
Okay. And then on the situation you've been asked about on the, you were saying it was on the 22nd, whenever it was, explain to the jurors whether you buzzed, if that's the right term, Mr. McIver in, or if he got in without you buzzing him.
He was able to enter the building without my assistance.
Okay. Any follow-up based on that, Ms. Griffin?
No, you're right.
Ms. Clark-Palmer?
Just very briefly. Is there a code you can punch in to get in that front door without you having to buzz somebody in?
Yes, sir. You have that, yes.
All right. Let's just say the code is 1234.
Mhm.
I'm not an employee. You could say to me, hey, the code is 1234. I could go punch it in and get in the building without you, the receptionist, buzzing me in.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Meadows. Next witness.
I'll tear it around.
Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you should give the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Yes, sir. If you will, please have a seat. Get as close to the mic as you can.
Okay.
For the purposes of the court record, please state your name and spelling.
Terry Brown, Terry Brown.
Good morning, Mr. Brown.
Good morning.
introduce yourself to the jury and tell them what you're doing for a living now.
I was the executive assistant at U.S. Enterprises, and I am currently unemployed. I was released from U.S. Enterprises January 31st of this year.
And let's talk about why you no longer work at the court company.
Well, with Diane being deceased, our CFO about 4 months later resigned, and those are basically the two people that I supported. So basically my job has been gone for about a year, and it just took them this long to terminate me.
And when did you start working for U.S. Enterprises?
August 16th, 2010.
And so you worked there about 7.5 years?
Yes.
Now, while working there for the 7.5 years, can you tell the jury what your position as an executive assistant entailed?
Well, I supported the CFO and the president, which was Diane. I supported her professionally and personally. So I did whatever it is that she needed done to get through the day was my role for her. And for the CFO, I did most of his business dealings, as well as they both owned outside businesses, and I helped them with those businesses as well.
And you said you worked with the CFO. Who was the CFO?
Oh, Richard Harrell.
And did you work as an executive assistant for anybody else?
If Mr. Corey needed something, he would come to me from time to time. So I did do things for him as well, yes.
But primarily you worked with Ms. McIver?
Yes.
Now, you said you worked with her business, I guess, dealings, as well as you were her personal assistant.
Correct.
Why don't you tell the jury what you mean by being her personal assistant?
If there was an issue with anything at the house, either of the houses, she would call me and I would arrange to have whatever the issue was fixed. I mean, I ordered her clothes, I ordered her makeup, I ordered her coffee. I did everything for her except I did not pick up her laundry and I did not do her grocery shopping. Other than that, I pretty much supported everything that she needed throughout the day.
And did you do that for the entire, I guess, 6.5 years?
Pretty much, yes. Yes.
And did you work day in and day out with Ms. McIver?
Yes.
And through those 6+ years, did you foster a strong relationship with her?
Yes.
And outside of being her personal assistant and her business assistant, would you consider her a close friend?
Yes.
And do you believe she considered you a close friend?
Yes.
Did you work or deal with any of her financial information, status, all of her financial stuff?
I did all of her financial stuff.
Now, why don't you tell the jury what you mean by you did all of her financial stuff?
I was not a signer on her checking accounts, but I had online access to all of her checking accounts. I scanned her mail every day, so when bills came, I opened her bills myself, and we kept them in a folder in her office. Twice a month, the bills came out. I sat down with the bills and the checking accounts, figured out where the money needed to be, and then when she'd come into the office, I would meet with her to say, you got to pay bills today, you have to move this money around to do that, and you need to do it today. And then I would follow up with her, because I could check online if she paid them. So if she didn't do it, I would hound her until she paid the bills.
Now, you said you could check online or make sure she paid the bills.
Correct.
How were you able to do that?
I had online access to all of her. I mean, I could have paid them. She just liked to pay her own bills.
Was she, did she like to follow where her money went?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Was money, that was something that was very important to Diane?
It was.
Okay. And you said you had access to her accounts. How did you have access to all of her online accounts?
I had my own password and log on, different from hers.
And Matt was able to give you the same access that she had?
Correct.
Now, with doing all of her finances, paying paying bills or getting bills ready to be paid, did you document or record all of the payments and everything else that she had to do each month with her money?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you do that?
About 2 months after I went to work for her, I created a checkbook register. It looked just like a checkbook register on Excel. And everything that I did financially, I had an Excel spreadsheet for each of her accounts. And every time a check was written or a deposit was made, I handled it just like a checkbook, except it was in Excel on a spreadsheet. And she kept her own checkbook probably until about I think in 2011 on the spreadsheets, I asked her, she'd give me her bank balance that she had, then I could actually start to balance her checking account every month. So she stopped keeping a checkbook register, and we only used my spreadsheet. From about 2000, on that spreadsheet, somewhere in 2011, it says balance from Diane McIver. And then I balanced her checkbook. I balanced each one of her accounts once a week.
So it was kind of like an electronic checkbook?
Yes, exactly.
And you said you balanced each one of her accounts. How many accounts did she have?
She had 3 or 4. She had one at Bank of North Georgia that she just kept it there because she had a line of credit, so that didn't do much. She had 2 at Brand Bank that were her personal account and her claim management account, and then she had a money market account that I didn't keep track of that. It was just she used that to transfer money in and out, so I didn't keep track of that.
So that was, for all intents and purposes, her play money or money she was able to move around?
Yes.
And you mentioned her clay account. What did you mean by that?
Claim management was the business that she owned personally, and she had a separate account for that.
Did Ms. McIver own any other businesses separate from clay management and U.S. Enterprises?
Yes.
Okay. And what businesses were those?
She owned 50% of DRS, and she owned a percentage of Prestige Marketing.
Okay. And we didn't talk about this earlier, but what was her position at U.S. Enterprises?
President.
And was she always president when you worked for her?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to show you what's been previously shown to the defense counsel and marked as State's Exhibit 201 through 206. You will look at those and tell me, see if you recognize them, and look up when you're done looking through them. Okay? Do you recognize State's Exhibit 201 through 206?
Yes.
Okay. And what are State's Exhibit 201 through 206?
These are the checkbook registers that I kept.
And are these the electronic checkbook registers or the Excel spreadsheets you just told the jury about?
Yes.
And do they appear to be a fair and accurate copy of the registers that you did each year for Ms. McIver?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the State Lieutenant will mark State's Exhibit 201 through 206.
No objection.
They're admitted.
Thank you.
201 through 206.
May I publish?
You may.
Now, Mr. Brown, we're not going to go through each one of your checkbook registers, but will you just explain to the jury, I guess, what they're looking at, and if this is what you did for each year, a month of each year while you worked with Ms. McIver?
Yes.
Okay. And see where the top left-hand corner box, what's the label there?
That's her personal checking account and the checking account number.
And is there a page?
Can you slide that off the screen for a minute?
Yes.
I don't know if that's a complete account number.
It
If
is.
that's still an active account number.
It's not. It's not.
Well, they're my answers. Okay, then you can put it back up. Let's just be mindful of that as we go forward.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown, is there a page in each one of the Excel spreadsheets for all of her accounts?
Not her money market. I didn't track that. So you'll have one for her personal, which was Brand Bank. You'll have one for claim management, which is Brand Bank, and there should be one for claim management that is Bank of North Georgia.
So there's one for each one of the accounts?
Yeah, there's a check register for each account, yes.
Okay. Now, we were talking earlier about why you kept these detailed spreadsheets for Ms. McIver. Tell the jury a little bit more about how she felt about her money.
It was very important to her.
Well, I'm sorry.
And
Withdrawn?
Yes.
Okay.
continue.
You may.
And did Diane or Ms. McIver, did she loan money to people?
Yes.
Okay. And did she loan money to people often?
Yes.
Now, were they the type of loans where you give someone the money and you don't expect anything in return?
No.
Were they the type of loans that you made to someone and they could pay you back whenever they could?
No.
Okay. Why don't you tell the jury the type of loans that Ms. McIver would loan to people?
She loaned money to her friends, generally at 5%. And you paid every month. And my job was to make sure you paid every month. And if you didn't pay every month, my job was to call you and make sure that you remembered that you had a payment due and it's late. And then she would ask me once a month. I mean, she knew that people owed her money, and she would ask me every month about the third of the month, is all the money in? I always told her yes. Not that that was always the truth, but I always told everybody, because I knew these people also. So I didn't want them to get called from her. I would call them. So I always told her everything was fine. And it generally was always fine. I always got the money every month.
So you were persistent?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you said she loaned money to her friends. Who did she loan money to?
She had a loan to John Hahn, who is a U.S. Enterprise employee. She had a couple loans to Danny Carter. She had a loan to Tex. She had a loan to Ann Swall. She had a loan to James Hugh.
And are all of these people outside of the defendant close personal friends of Ms. McIver?
Yes.
And she charged her close personal friends interest?
Yes.
Okay. So her money was that important to her?
Objection, Your Honor. Argument is...
Right.
Sustained.
I'll withdraw the question.
Good choice.
And you said she made loans to the defendant? Mr.
Yes.
McIver. And did she expect Mr. McIver to pay her on time with interest?
His loan was interest only, so he only paid interest.
Okay.
He didn't pay any principal.
Now, you said his loan. Tell the jury a little bit about his loan and what the loan was for.
The loan was for $350,000. I'm not sure what the loan was, what the money was given to him for. It started January 15th of 2012, and he made interest-only payments. It was a 3-year term originally, and the payments were $1,531 a month. And at the end of the 3 years, Diane came to me, it was January, I guess, of 15, to say, I've re-upped the loan for another 3 years, and I've reduced his payment to $1,400 and something.
Okay. So let's backtrack for a second.
And there's a spreadsheet for all of that also.
Okay. And is it in State's Exhibits 201 through 206 that you looked at earlier? Or would it be in that?
It wouldn't be in the checkbook registers. It was I had a file for each person that had a loan out, and each month it had the amount of the payment, and then I posted the payments as they were being made.
Okay.
So there is a spreadsheet for that someplace.
So you said that the loan was for $350K?
Yes.
And it was how many years?
The original was 3.
Okay. And that started when?
January 15th. The payment was due on the 18th of the month, and it started in January. I think it was 2012. And it was
3 years from there.
Yeah, and it was $1,500 and some change a month.
And then you said that loan was renewed?
It was renewed in, I guess, 2015.
Why was it renewed?
I have no idea. I was just told it was renewed, and the payment was reduced to $1,400 and change. And I don't know why it was reduced.
No. This first 3 years, the $1,500, did any of that include principal?
No.
At the end of the 3 years before the loan had been renewed, had any principal on the $350,000 that had been loaned been paid?
No.
When the loan was renewed, do you remember what year that was in?
Should have been 2015. Should have been January.
Okay. From January 2015, let's say, until September 25th of 2016, when Ms. McIver was shot, had any of the principal been paid on that loan at all?
No.
And the renewal, how many years was the renewal for?
3.
Another 3 years?
Yes.
And at the end of those 3 years, was the principal to be paid?
Yes.
Okay. And to your knowledge, on the 25th of September 2016, 0 principal had been paid?
Correct. And there's a spreadsheet to show all that somewhere.
Oh, that's the right way to spell that principal. Okay. No, it's not. That's the actual principal.
The jury will judge that accordingly. I think we have a math teacher, not an English teacher, so you may be spared as long as your numbers are good.
This is why I was not a journalist. Now, outside of doing Ms. McIver's finances and other business-related stuff, as well as her personal, helping her with her personal things, did you socialize with Ms. McIver?
I did.
And tell the jury a little bit about that. How did you socialize with her? What did you do?
We went to dinner probably once a quarter. When I thought she turned 60, I gave her a birthday party at my house and let her invite. The max was 12, so it was myself and my partner, and she and Tex, and then she got to invite 3 other couples. And we had dinner, and we continued that tradition every year until she was deceased. I also she had a birthday party every year, usually for Tex, and I was invited to those parties as well. We had a yearly birthday party for Austin, and I was invited to those parties as well.
Now, when you say Austin, who's Austin?
Austin Swall. That's
Okay.
her godson.
That's her godson.
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity outside of the birthday parties to see Diane and Austin interact?
Yes.
And from observing that, how could you tell how Ms. McIver felt about Austin?
She thought that kid built the world.
Okay. Now tell the jury, what do you mean by she felt like?
Well, she had no children. So it was like, I guess you could say, a grandson to her. You know, she cherished the ground that boy walked on, literally.
And when Austin was with Ms. McIver, was he ever wanting anything? Or let me ask a better question. Was there anything that she wouldn't give him?
She did not spoil him, if that's what you're asking me. Did she give him a lot of things? Yes. But did she spoil him? I would say no.
Let me ask a better question.
Okay.
When he was with Ms. McIver, was he always very well taken care of?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the birthday parties you were talking about for Austin, who planned those?
Me.
Okay. And tell the jury a little bit about those parties.
The party took about 2 months to plan. There was a petting zoo. There was usually some type of a blow-up slide or castle to jump in. And then there was food, and about 100 people got invited. And generally at least 60 came at the ranch. And it took about 2 months. I did the invite, sent them out, did the RSVPs, worked with the caterer to plan the food. It was always all catered. And just to make sure that everything happened and everybody was where they were supposed to be when they were supposed to be there. One year she usually had some type of special event. One year we had an Indian chief come and do a presentation for the kids at the birthday party. And one year we did face painting every year. So the parties were pretty big, I guess is the way to say it.
So they were elaborate.
Yes.
Okay. And you said they were at the ranch.
Yes.
Where is the ranch property?
Eatonton,
And have you been there before?
for the birthday party. That was the first time I've ever been there, was for the birthday party.
And how many birthday parties did you go to? A plan.
6, I guess,
Okay. And did you go to the ranch outside of those birthday parties?
once.
Okay. And did Miss McIver have any properties in Atlanta?
Yes,
Okay. And where were those?
the 2 condos at Kingsborough.
Okay. And when you say 2 condos, were they separate condos? Or was it one big condo?
She bought them individually, and then she took one of the walls out, so they were together at the time.
And have you had an opportunity to go to the condos?
Yes.
And did you go there often?
I wouldn't say often, no.
Back to the birthday parties. Who paid for those parties?
I think Tex paid for the petting zoo, and I think he paid for whatever the slide or the castle was, because that was an account that he had with someplace in Eatonton, even though I called generally to make sure that it was going to be available. That was Tex's account. The caterer was paid for, the food was paid for by Diane.
And while we're talking about money, did you handle all of Ms. McIver's finances? Were they separate and apart from Mr. McIver's finances?
Yes.
And why is that?
She told me when she hired me.
Stop. That's okay. Just when you hear one of the attorneys pop up who's not asking you a question, we all put the brakes on.
I'll ask a better question, sir.
Okay.
From the time that you started working in August of 2010 at U.S. Enterprises for Ms. McIver until her death, were their finances always separate?
Yes.
Okay. And how would you describe Mr. and Mrs. McIver's marriage?
As far as I can tell you, it was a very good marriage.
And did you plan vacations for them?
Yes.
Okay. When you planned those vacations, was it just for the 2 of them, or did other people go?
There was generally always someone with them on vacation.
I'm sorry, the last part trailed off.
Oh, there was generally somebody always. An example, they took the Swalls on vacation once a year. They did golf trips, and they usually traveled with friends from Canada, or they traveled with friends that live here that golfed. So they were generally golfing vacations when they traveled, unless they were going with the Swalls, and then that was just a family vacation. And I planned it all, down to the tea times, cars to take them to dinner, where they were having lunch, what time breakfast was going to be. There was an itinerary done. The woman never rested. I mean, literally, it was supposed to be vacation. That was every minute was scheduled from when she got up in the morning till she went to bed at night. And that was vacation.
So she liked to fit a lot in 24 hours?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember telling me that they were never alone?
Very rarely were they ever alone that I know of.
Explain to the jury what you mean by that.
Well, even when they always had a group of people with them. And I guess that's how they liked, that's what they liked. They just didn't spend, there was always people at the condo, there was always people at the ranch, there was always people around them.
Now, this remark goes back up. Can you show the jury your Honor, permission for Mr. Brown to step down?
Sure, Mr. Brown, you may need to get up so you can point things out on whatever that big board is. And Ms. Clark-Palmer, you're free to move where you need to see it.
Can you show the jury where in this diagram of the inside of U.S. Enterprises your office was, where your area was?
Can you all see that? I don't know. It's at a funny angle for folks way against the wall. Should we move it, or is everyone good? Swing it out a little bit. Great. That'll make it easier for Ms. Clark-Palmer to see as well.
Better. Okay. So you were up towards the middle right of the Now, in Ms. McIver's office, was there a bathroom? Was there a restroom or bathroom?
Yes.
Was it her own personal bathroom?
Yes.
And inside, I'm going to show you what's been marked, and already admitted this to 139. What are we looking at? Tell the jury what we're looking at here.
Those are the file cabinets in her bathroom.
Okay. And did anybody have access to those?
No.
Okay. Who had access to those?
Only her.
Okay. And did they always remain locked?
Yes.
Okay. And you worked with her for over 6 years. What did she keep in those?
That's where she kept all of her important papers. That's what she told me, so I believed her. I was only in those cabinets once in 6 years.
Did you were only in that cabinet once in 6
Right.
years? And she trusted you?
Right.
Okay. Tell the jury how you felt about Ms. McIver.
Object to the relevance. I don't understand kind of the framework of general feeling about.
Well, I think given some of the motions that have been filed, this is an appropriate question.
May I continue?
Sure.
You can answer the question.
I thought the world of her. I mean, she was very good to me. I was very good to her. We got along very well. It was a great relationship.
Did you stand up to her at times?
I sure did.
Okay.
Yes.
And could she have a sharp tongue?
Yes, she could.
Okay, objection, leading, and I think the question is argumentative.
Okay, I'll allow it. Overrule.
And tell the jury a little about what you mean by sharp tongue.
Well, you want to use the phrase, so why don't you ask a different question?
Okay. Tell the jury how Ms. McIver interacted with a lot of people.
She had a very, very strong personality, and she was a very controlling. Not controlling is not the word. She had a very strong personality. She was a very dominant woman. She had to be. I mean, she worked in a man's world, and she was a very dominant woman. But she could also be very friendly. So, I mean, don't take that in the wrong way. But when it come to business, there was no fooling around with Diane. None. It was her way or the highway.
And was that the attitude she had with all people?
I kind of saw a different side of her. I mean, my relationship with her was a little bit different. So she wasn't like that with everybody. But no, she was a very dominant woman. I guess with everybody, but she did have a side that wasn't always so dominant.
Tell the jury a little bit about how your relationship was different with her than with other people.
Well, we just interacted differently. You know, I'm also a pretty dominant personality as well. So we took us a little bit to work through some of that. But once we got a handle on it, we respected each other. So my treatment was a tad bit different because of my personality. And once we figured it out, then it just made it very easy for us to interact. And she knew I would stand up for myself.
And is that why the relationship lasted as long as it did?
I think it probably had a good bit to do with it, yes.
Now, bringing you to September 25th of 2000, or 26th of 2016, how did you learn about Ms. McIver's passing?
I had a couple of missed calls on my cell phone from Tex, and I had a missed call on my office phone. But when I got to work, John Hahn is the one that came to tell me that Diane was, all he said was she was gone, and I didn't know what that meant.
Did you, when you got to work, did you have an opportunity to talk to the defendant on the phone?
I did. After John came to talk to me, I returned his calls.
And when you returned his phone call, were you able to connect with him?
Yes.
And what did he tell you happened the night before about Ms. McIver?
He just told me she was, if I remember correctly, and I don't really remember because that was not the best day in my life, but he didn't tell me what happened, so I didn't learn that till a couple hours later. So, but I did talk to him. I can't tell you what the conversation was. All he said was, if I remember correctly, was that she was gone also.
Did he tell you that he shot her?
No.
Did you talk with Mr. McIver, the defendant, again that day about what occurred?
I did see him that night at the condo. We didn't talk about it.
Okay. When you said you saw him that night, tell the jury a little bit why you were at the condo.
Well, I just felt it was appropriate for me to be there. I mean, it was just the thing that I thought I needed to do. So I went.
Did you go alone or did you go with someone?
No, my partner went.
Okay. And what is your partner's name?
Bill Brown.
Okay. And were there other people at the condo that Monday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Who else was there, if you can remember?
I know Rachel Stiles was there. I know Annie, I'm going to say Anderson, but she's married, so she's got to do, but I know her as Annie Anderson. I believe Ken Rickard was there. Danny Joe Carter was there. Tex was there. There were a bunch of people there. I mean, those are the people that come to mind.
And Annie Anderson. Had you met her before?
Yes.
And who is she to the McIvers?
She was their massage therapist.
Okay. And when you got there to the condo, were you able to interact with the defendant?
Yes.
Okay. Tell the jury a little bit of the conversations you had with him.
I can't really even remember the conversations. I know at one point that night, my partner is interior designer, and the condo, the second condo, when they put them together, the kitchen was torn out. It was just a big party room with a bedroom. And Tex had asked us what we thought it would cost to put that condo back as a condo, if he wanted to put them on the market.
When you say put that back, you mean split them back up into two condos?
Right, and you'd have to put the kitchen back in and put it back together.
And sell them separately?
Yes.
And this was less than 24 hours after Ms. McIver?
It was either, I went Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night. It was one of those 3 nights.
So within the 3 days after Ms. McIver
Right,
died?
yes.
Okay. Now, you said the room was a big party room. What do you mean by that?
They took all the walls were taken out, where the kitchen and the dining room and the family room were, and it was just a big room. That's where they had their big TV. When they had company over, that's where they entertained, was on the other side. The side they lived on was a normal condo. The other side was where they entertained.
Was there anything special about, or that you would notice about the walls in that room?
Oh, the wine, you mean? Is that what you're asking me? Yeah, no, there was wine racks. There was a lot of wine. I would say 3 walls of wine racks.
And did both Mr. and Mrs. McIver enjoy wine?
Yes.
And if you had to say, since you knew them for quite some time, over 6 years, what kind of wine did they typically drink, that they being Mr. and Mrs. McIver?
Mostly red for wine. They did drink white from time to time. And they would switch. Sometimes they would start with white and then switch to red.
And after the comment about putting the wall up and splitting the condos back into 2, do you remember anything else from that evening?
No.
Okay. And you said you went over there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Why did you go over there each night?
I don't know. I just did. So, no reason. We did take dinner Tuesday and Wednesday because no one was eating on Monday. So, Bill cooked and we took dinner 2 nights.
And you said you just did because Ms. McIver was so close to you.
Yes, I would say that's true.
And she was a part of your every single day.
Yes.
Objection to leading.
excuse me, was she a part of your every single day?
Yes.
Now, after Ms. McIver's passing, did the defendant reach out to you about Diane's finances?
Yes.
Okay, tell the jury a little bit about that.
Well, I was the only one that knew. No one knew where her bank accounts were. No one knew where her money was except for me. So,
Brown, can you move a little closer to the microphone?
I can.
Thank you. Lift it back as you go present.
okay. So they had to come to me to find out where her finances were.
Okay, and did you meet with him?
I did meet with him probably once in October, and I know once in November, because I had to transition her bills. He didn't know what her living expenses were, what it cost to run the condos, all that stuff. She owned them. She paid for that herself. So all that had to be given to Tex.
Before he called you, did you even know where her accounts were?
No.
How much money
Well,
was there?
as far as I know, no.
And while or during those meetings, or explain to the jury what those meetings were about, what occurred during them.
I collected her bills after she was deceased and went to the condo and took a folder that I had with all of her expenses and bills and stuff in it and explained to him what he needed to do to keep the condo running. I mean, there was condo fees to be paid, you know, the utility bills were in her name, and they came electronically, so we didn't get a paper bill. So we had to call the power company to get all that stuff turned back off so that the paper bill would come, because when she was deceased, the bank locked her checking accounts immediately. So nothing could be paid through her accounts. So we met twice to go through all of her stuff to make sure everything was getting paid, that he understood what he needed to do and what it took to actually run the condos.
And why did you agree to meet with her? You know, it sounds like a funny question. Take a minute.
Do you need a break, Mr. Brown?
I'll be all right. Just give me a minute. It's what my job was, and that's how I saw it. It was very important to me to finish. I'm sorry.
Take a minute, take a deep breath.
I didn't think it would be this hard. It's been too long. Okay. So that's why. It was important to me to finish her life.
Because her money was so important to her.
It was important to
I'm
her.
sorry.
Stop doing that. Don't argue through your questions. Save that for, if you want to give closing, negotiate with Mr. Rucker and Ms. Conklin.
Okay. We'll talk about that tonight. Did he, after showing him your documents, your spreadsheets, did he say anything about her finances?
Well, he thought she had more money than what she had. He was surprised at the number that was in her checking accounts.
Now, do you know who Miss Janie Calhoun is?
I do.
And do you know where she lives?
I do.
Where does she live?
She lives at Kingsborough Road next door. She has the condo next door to the McIvers.
The McIver?
Yes.
And over the years, have you gotten to know her?
Very well. Yes.
And have you stayed in contact with Miss Calhoun since Diane's passing?
I have. I usually see her once a month.
And were you aware that the defendant and Ms. Calhoun in the past have been romantically involved?
Yes.
Your Honor, we approach.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
May I continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we're clear, we'll get that bench conference on the record during our next break.
Now, I think we were talking about, no, I think we were at where you and Mr. McIver were meeting about Mr. McIver's finances.
Correct.
And I think my last question, I apologize, was about whether you knew about the previous relationship between Mr. McIver and Janie Calhoun.
Yes, I did know.
And in the meetings, so there was two.
Best I know, there was 2, yes.
While talking about Mr. McIver's finances, was Ms. Calhoun's name brought up?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you tell the jury how or who brought Ms. Calhoun's name up?
Mr. McIver Tex brought her up. And I don't know how it came up in the conversation.
And about how long would you say it had been since Ms. McIver's passing during this conversation?
It was a couple of days before her memorial service, which was the end of October. So it was like the week before. So it was sometime towards the end of October.
About a month?
Yes.
Okay. And why don't you tell the jury what Mr. McIver, the defendant, said about Ms. Calhoun?
All he said is he didn't think she was happy with her husband, who was less, and that maybe he could get her back.
Maybe he could get who back?
Janie.
And how did that, what did you think of that?
So, objection.
Sustained.
Okay. What did you say to that?
I don't remember saying anything.
Why not?
Objection to relevance.
Doesn't remember saying anything. Next question.
Now, in previous interactions with the defendant, have he told you how much it costs to run the ranch?
The best I can remember, he said it was about $20,000 a month to run the ranch.
And the defendant told you that?
Yes.
Now, while working with Ms. McIver, did you know she had a will?
Yeah, as far as I saw it, so yes, she did have a will.
Okay. So, first, when did you see it?
Somewhere 2013, 14, in that time frame.
Okay. And why don't you tell the jury how you saw the will?
I had it. It was in my office. I don't remember why I had it. As far as I know, she was thinking about making changes to it. I had it. I wouldn't have made the changes. I wouldn't have done anything to it, so I don't know why I had it, but I did. So I know it was out of her cabinet.
So let's back up for a second. Who gave it to you?
She did.
And you said something about making changes. How did you know that?
Well, I believe that's what she told me.
So Diane told you?
Yes.
And you believe that this was about when? Which year?
I'm thinking 2014, 15, I don't remember. But I had it in my office.
And what did you do with it after you had it in your office?
I gave it back to her. That stuff did not stay sitting out. She was totally against her personal information being left out.
When you said that was Diane a fairly private person?
She was when it came to her business, yes.
How about her personal life?
I don't know that she was as private about that as she was her money and stuff was very important to her. She kept that very private.
Did she talk to you a lot about her personal life?
I knew a good bit about it, yes.
Was Diane the kind of person who would procrastinate, for example, making changes to a will?
No, I would have never believed she would have procrastinated.
Now, you talked about Mr. McIver saying that a number was low or that it was less than he thought. What was the number that you're referring to, the amount, if you can recall?
With all of her checking accounts combined, the total amount of cash was a little under $400,000.
I missed that's the time frame?
It was, when did he make that comment?
It probably was it was either in our first meeting. I had so many conversations with.
Let me ask a better question.
Okay.
Was it after Diane's death?
Yes.
And was it in one of the meetings that you had with Mr. McIver regarding her finances?
It could have been before. I had several phone conversations I had several conversations with Tex before I met with him on the phone about finances and money and stuff. So when it actually happened, I can't answer that.
Now, the important papers that were in the lock cabinet in the bathroom, do you know what happened to those?
The key was on her key ring, which the police had, and that was the only key to the cabinets. So Mr. Corey asked us to hire a locksmith to come in and pop the cabinets.
And did you actually call the locksmith?
Actually, I did not. Somebody that I worked with
Don't
did.
tell me what somebody did or said. Do you know if the cabinets were opened?
Yes.
Okay. And from there, do you know what happened to the papers that were inside those two lock cabinets?
As best of my knowledge, Angie Brooks, Mr. Corey, and Ken Rickard went through the cabinets.
Okay. And after those cabinets were gone through, did they take all the papers? What happened to them?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
Now, did you ever see the promissory note for the $350,000 loan?
No.
Okay.
Well, I don't think I did. I know there was one.
Okay. And your recollection was that it was 3 years for the original one and 3 years for the renewal.
Right. And I think that is actually stated in the spreadsheet that I kept. But again, I can't swear to that.
Did anyone, or did you see or observe anyone come to U.S. Enterprises to pick up or retrieve Ms. McIver's belongings in her office?
Yes. The boxes were packed one day when I was out of the office, and they were in the hallway outside of her office, and I helped Tammy Johnson and Dixie Martin load the boxes into a truck out of the warehouse, and they took them.
And who is, do you know who Dixie Martin is?
Yes, it's Tex's sister.
And do you know who Tammy Johnson is?
She was working for Tex at the time, helping with the estate.
No further questions at this time.
Ms. Clark?
No, I report stress, obviously, but I'm talking to Mr. Brown. I'm going to be going through things that are in these exhibits. I think I'll do it a little faster, but I'll have lunchtime to kind of flag exactly what I'm going to ask them about since they're a little voluminous.
Okay. If that will make your examination more efficient, it's not an unnatural time to break for lunch. Let's talk about how long you all want for lunch. We did an hour yesterday. I'm happy to give you an hour again. If we made it 50 minutes, would that give you all enough time to go wherever you want to go and get back into action? All right, we'll try that. So let's try to start at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. Try to be back by 1. If not, we're trying out this 50-minute lunch thing, and we'll go from there. But we'll get back with Mr. Brown's cross-examination at 1 o'clock. Thank you so much. Don't talk about the case. No outside research. Enjoy your lunch.
All rise for the jurors.
It's about the case between now and your return.
Okay.
Have a great lunch. You all can be seated. I need to get one thing on the record before we break, and then I'll see if there's anything from either of the sides. Ms. Clark Palmer lodged a timely objection to the testimony from Mr. Brown about what he recalls Mr. McIver saying about Ms. Calhoun, if that makes sense. We had a sidebar on that, and these are now my words, and I'll give you a chance to flesh out the record as much as you want. One concern was relevance, and another was 403, that if it was relevant, that relevance or probative value would be substantially outweighed by some unfair or undue prejudice. I heard all that. I heard from the state, and I concluded that it was relevant. And that my 403 balancing was such that it ought to come in light of a defense that focuses in no small part on love, devotion, fidelity, etc. It's germane. It's an issue that's in play. It was dealt with one question, and we moved on from there. So you've preserved the issue. I want to give you a chance to make any additional record that you want to make.
I think the only other thing I noted to the court when we were up at the bench is that this comment was made after Mrs. McIver passed away. Obviously, our questions to the witnesses about whether they had a good marriage focused on their relationship before she passed away. I don't think anybody is going to come in here and say that there was any similar type of comment while Mrs. McIver was alive. And as the court noted, that is not something that came up in the state's opening statement as to what they think Mr. McIver's motive is.
Okay. Anything you want to add to the record, Mr. Abate?
No, Judge.
Okay. Anything from the state before we break? Okay.
Do we need to deal with Ms. Little? I guess we'll talk at lunch about Ms. Little.
Yeah, once you all time, you've got a lot to do at lunch. Maybe Mr. Samuel could help out with something and talk about Ms. Williams. There he is. He's even moved to the back row. I'll come back a little before 1, and we'll see what's been sorted out, if anything, concerning Elaine Williams, who is flagged for 2 807 statements. I didn't hear from her when we were together Monday afternoon, so I'll need to learn a little bit more about that if the state, in fact, is pursuing either of those. Thanks. Enjoy your lunch.